What's prickly and squirts jam? A hedgehog eating a donut.
See, I'm frustrated at the moment because I keep being told that I'm waiting on a schedule change. They've decided to change us from a 4 on, so working 4 days, off 4 days, into, well, we're going to give you 5 days a week and you're going to work less hours, but the schedule's going to be completely random. And they've pushed it down 3 times so far. So I don't know what the hell is going on at the moment.
I honestly, all I've been doing is sitting in the checkout at like a food shop, grocery store, whatever. But all I do is I sit in the checkout for 8 hours every day, and I scan everyone's groceries, and then I ask them if they'd like a bag, and then I give them a bag if they say yes, and that's all I do.
I feel like work, you just get in there and just work. It's obvious, like it's in the name. Fair play, you have your own problems and stuff, but you just get on it, you move stuff, you use your mind, you use your physical state, and then you can just sign off and just chill, It's quite simple. It's just, hello, Bert.
My job's quite weird actually. I start work at 9:30 and finish at 6:30. Which I think works better because it starts at a later time, more people are awake, the people you're talking to have more of an interest because they're not like 8:30, they're dying of coffee black. So you're talking to people who are more awake. Your job yourself, you feel more invigorated because you're starting later, you've actually got a decent night's sleep, and overall I think it does provide a better work-life balance because you're not working at the crack of dawn, and you're working at a sensible time, sensible hours. Yeah, 4-day week's probably what most people are thinking about. I mean, most people don't even do enough hours, don't even do 37 hours a week of work. Probably do about 22 hours, the rest are goofing about.
Well, there's been a debate lately, in here at least, about having like a 4-day work week, which basically means that you work for 4 days, but your hours are longer, but you always get like a few days off, which would be a lot nicer, honestly, because It's currently it's like you work every day and you get one day off, and which can be very, very tiring and very depressing after a while. So that would have been a huge improvement, but
You could say good people and bad people, or just positive people and negative people. People who want to grow within the factory or whatever they want to do within any kind of warehouse work, or the negative people where they just want to destruct things and kind of not corrupt things, but kind of just get their own way.
You're here for the money? Yeah. You? Yeah. Then we have no reason to really get annoyed with each other? Yeah. That's cool. Yeah.
the customers are fine. Yeah, they're oftentimes they're very nice. I had a few incidents with some customers that weren't very nice, and they kind of they cussed me out, stuff like that. It's fine. I'm over it. Honestly, it's just because I told them that I didn't really know how to do it because I was quite new to the cash register at that point, so I didn't really know all of the like functions and stuff like that. And then there was this guy that came in and he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna buy," like he bought like a few beers or something, and then he was like, "Oh, and make the sum like £60 in total," and I thought he was gonna like have 60 like out like separate from paying for the for the beer, and then he got confused and I got confused, and then he was like, "No, I want 60 like in total, like everything together," and I was like, "Hey, I don't know how to do that," and then he started to get more and more upset, and then he cussed me out, and there was this guy in the further back in the line, and he was like, why are you cussing her out? She didn't do anything, like, it's not her fault, she's new. And he was like, "Oh no, she's just stupid, she doesn't know what she's doing," and stuff like that. And then he left, and after some time, and then the other guy came over and he was like, it's alright, you were doing a good job." And I was just like, "Oh, thank you." And then I started crying my eyes out, and he was like, "It's alright, just call someone and let them like finish the line, and then you can go to the bathroom, it's fine, and cry." And I was like, "Okay." So I did. And then I cried a bit.
Learn as much as you can and get out, because be controlled by a manager or a supervisor, you're pretty much just turning into them, and you want to be your own individual self. So best thing to do is just do what you can as yourself, and then just get out and be yourself. That's the way I see it.
Something new every day. Every day is going to be a different challenge. People don't respond right to your criteria. There's a shift in environment.
It's good, but it's good. It's yes. But all my coworkers are fine. They're very nice. They're nice. It's just they like to unload their shifts on me, because that's technically what I'm there for. But they're like, as soon as I'm working and they see me, they're like, "Oh, hello. I'm working that and that day, but could you take my shift for me?" And I'm like, "Sure, whatever." So I do it.
Nobody's really, like, we don't have the, oh well, we're all just sat in an office not talking to each other going on, right? Like, everyone's at least trying to make the small talk a little bit when it's necessary. Like, we're not yammering off at each other at a water cooler, but we're not, "Oh, here I am in my kingdom, how dare you intrude upon it," sort of thing, which I've had sometimes. I hate that work environment when you can't really talk to anybody because everybody's just either so busy or so self-absorbed, right? But I enjoy the job, like honestly I do.
Mostly the best thing I've been told by a worker who says is that You know, you don't know how long you're going to be in the factory or be in the warehouse for how long. You might be in there for a month, you might be in there for years. But the most important thing is to just enjoy what you've got and to just vibe and enjoy what little time you have in there and just to make the most of it, really.
I do like talking to people, and I'm dealing with about 110 calls a day or something like that, so I am talking to people constantly. So I'm never bored, I'm always doing something, which is what I enjoy in a job. I don't want to sit around doing out. I do want to work.
I'd like to be a choreographer. Like, that's my ultimate goal, like being a choreographer, but like not just some like choreographer at like a little dance studio, but like a pretty famous one. But like just being hired for different like sort of artists around the world, honestly, anyone who would need it.
Well, I mean, the immortal dream job is to not work, isn't it? or at least do a job so inconsequential that it feels like you're not working. Right? Like, oh no, I've got to paint things. When do I have to paint them by? I don't know. Just generally in the future. How much am I being paid for it? Well, you've already got enough money in your bank account that you don't care about how much you're being paid. Oh, sweet. I would love to be able to do model painting or something. Well, you know, the number of people who say, you know, footballer, astronaut, all of these, well, that's a spectrum, but they're both like, you know, an astronaut, sure, you have to do the training, but a lot of the stuff is being done by the people on the ground, right? And a footballer, like, not to be too reductive, but a footballer's job is just all about, right?
What do you call a boomerang that won't come back? A stick.
What make the best pets? Probably dogs. Probably dogs. That's probably quite a boring answer, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. My granddad has had dogs. That's kind of where all my dog experience has come from.
For me, it's cats, of course. The best benefit of cats is you don't have to walk it in the rain, in the morning, in the evening. I got my new home. I wanted a pet. I immediately wanted a cat because I was brought up with many animals at home. We had several cats, a dog, but in the past we had also birds and chickens and other kinds of animals. But I wanted a cat because a cat is more on its own. Doesn't need enough attention as a dog. But I was looking for a cat in the shelter, but Charlie was pretty relaxed. She has a cool feature. She's black and white, but she has a white mustache.
I met them when they were 5 weeks old, and I went to pick my puppy. Pumpkin was the colour of a pumpkin as a baby, and I picked her up at the beginning of October, so during spooky season, so it made sense to call her Pumpkin. Incredibly small and bitey and fluffy.
I've had cats. I've had goldfish. But probably the most obscure pet I've had is a stick insect. And they're only supposed to live for 6 months. And mine lived for 2 years, so what does that say?
God, we're talking ages ago, yeah. So I had two, I think they're called Sandy Matilda, 2 chickens. We owned like a little farm bit, so we kind of just moved them there in the end. Because we had some pigs there, like 6 pigs as well. That was it. We had loads of eggs from them though, that was very good. There were 6 pigs. It was only like a little small plot of lands, but yeah, obviously they were quite. There was a really scruffy one I remember called Paul. He was probably my favourite one because he was really scruffy.
If you scratch Pumpkin's butt, she growls, and then if you stop, she'll keep growling at you until you stop petting her again. Not a bad growl, it's just an attention growl. It's a how dare you stop petting me. Please, could you get back to that? I find that he's just a quirky dog in general. He's really goofy. It's like, he always asks permission before he goes on the furniture. He's incredibly intelligent. That's what I like about him. He's really smart. I'm teaching him sign language at the moment. And French. Commands in French are very useful. Mostly because it gives him something to do. He gets bored if I don't give him enough mental stimulation.
Just thought probably wasn't the right time to get a dog. Just bought a house. Dogs, I don't know if you've seen a dog, quite expensive. Quite expensive bits of kit. So I thought, I should wait. Maybe next year. Maybe the year after. The fear of not being here all the time. I think it'll be alright when they were older. But yeah, especially a young puppy, you don't want to really leave them home alone.
They're very, very lazy cats. But the most fun thing about the cats was they knew when it was weekend. So when it was weekend and I was sleeping longer, they came to my room and they tapped on my door from let me in, and they jumped on my bed with me. And they, all the two were sleeping with me in bed, so. One cat is called Shumi. It's named after Schumacher from Formula 1. You can describe him really like Garfield from the comic book, because he has the same color. He's fat and lazy and only wants to eat. But if you grab him, you think that it's one chunky boy, but it's all muscle.
I think in general it's got to be probably cats and dogs. I feel like they have more personality of anything. I suppose you could do more of them. Like you'd care about them. I mean, I remember I looked after a dog probably for about 6 months or a year. Kind of looked after one. And then when he went back to his own, I think his owner was on holiday for a bit, so we looked after him for about a year. But I'd say they probably make the best ones in terms of how I've seen. But in my opinion, obviously I've got the lizards, so I quite like those. It'll be 8 years old now. It's a bearded dragon, and yeah, she's really nice. She's laid eggs, like infertile eggs, which I didn't know could be done. But yeah, no, she like looks around. She's very aware of like her surroundings and that, and she learns, like she knows when she's going to get fed.
I met her at the dog shelter rescue centre thing that I went to for the first time, and yeah, she jumped up at me. It was really good. She was a good dog. Yeah, she was really happy, and she was wagging her tail, and she wanted to just be all over me because she's affectionate. She is a bit jumpy.
Animals? Yeah, animals are cool. My favourite animal is probably penguin, to be honest. They just seem alright.
Oh god, there were so many ducks. Okay, well, my duck Smaug, okay, used to sit on top of the food pile. That's why I called her Smaug, because every time it was feeding time and I put the food out, she'd step right in the middle of it and just sit there. And I always appreciated the fact that Thea Duck would let the females eat first. He'd just step back, and when they'd finished eating, he'd eat what's left. I thought that was very gentlemanly of him. And Puddle, well, I love her so much. And I like the way she used to just, like, I'd fill up the pool and she would just get in there and she would splash all the water out, so I'd have to fill it up again instantly. They used to, well, while I was filling the pool up for them, they used to all jump in at the same time. All of them. And just freak out. It was great. I built them little steps when the babies were ducklings, and that was pretty cute. They used to climb up the steps and fall head first into the pool.
Yes, I'm very big on Yeah, very big on animals. There's obviously some I don't like wasps really, like hornets or bees. But in terms of everything else, I'm a very big fan. And in terms of like wild animals as well.
Now, for the people who are choosing a new pet as for the first time, I will recommend a cat, because you don't have kittens are very fast an adult, and with a dog you have to do so many walkies outside. With cats you have to be less strict than a dog, and I would recommend people to choose a cat.
Yeah, she's a good dog, and she can't see a ball at the moment, so I'm thinking of getting a light up in the dark ball.
Wasn't too worried about Puddle, to be honest with you. She's a survivor. That, and I always fed the foxes anyway, so they never bothered me. Yeah, the foxes left the ducks alone, and they left them alone for years. So Puddle climbing the chain link fence with just her feet was both hilarious and slightly terrifying.
From my point of view, dogs are more active and cats are more chillax in that regard. Animals are more like themselves than people are, so in that regard I like animals more.
We looked after, there was a pheasant that got injured and they were going to kill it. But we looked after that for about a year. I suppose that you could call that a pet as well.
Yeah, she loves the beach. She digs holes a lot. She's actually got quite a lot of holes in the garden, which I'm not very pleased about. But she loves holidays. She doesn't like the car journeys though. She's a bit uneven, unsettled in the car. But that's animals. Yeah, that's why a lot of people have cats, because they can be self-sufficient. Not that dogs can't be self-sufficient, it's just that they can't go out the cat flap.
It's just a bit mental. Like, it just, like, I don't know, it wasn't really, I mean, it's a dog, but it was just weird. Like, it just did weird things that dogs shouldn't do. Like, it just ate grass. Like, a weird amount of grass. Like, you see dogs eating grass and you think, alright, that's just a dog. But it ate the lawn. They didn't have a mowing machine. I'm not taking the mick. Genuinely. It grazed. And house plants.
What did the big tomato say to the little tomato who was lagging behind? He said, ketchup.
Huge Batman fan. Yeah, I have probably more Batman stuff in the house than I should. That's difficult because I think a lot of actors do either a really good Bruce Wayne, a really terrible Batman, or a really good Batman and a really terrible Bruce Wayne. I actually love Michael Keaton. I think in terms of particularly his Bruce, he's a really human Bruce Wayne, and I think we see the really human elements. He's not a super jacked, like, crazy ninja. He's just a rich dude with a cool suit who's trying his best. He's probably a little bit more fit than the average guy, but, I think that for me was really interesting.
All-time favourite movie? God, I can't pick one. You can't pick one. That's like picking your favourite children, and I only have one. I guess, like, up there, like, I've got to have a group of them, right? It's going to be cheating, but I'm going to have a group of them. Roger Rabbit is up there. Groundhog Day is also up there. These are movies I could watch over and over again and still find little things that fascinate me about it. I guess if I want to go for a weirder recommendation, Storks. It's one of those. I think it's made by the guys who made Boss Baby, so it's like, it looks trashy, but please, I mean it. It's really good. It's really good. I watched it on a plane and it made me cry so much I had to hide in the toilets.
For a hyped up film that does live up to its name is the Back to the Future series, because I think that film is the best film series out there, and it really does live up to the hype.
I'm going to drop a bombshell on you. I haven't seen that. I've seen, I think, a bit of the first one and a bit of the second one. Okay. I know the third one's apparently not
The
good.
third one is the worst of the three, but it's still good.
It's still good.
Yeah. The only letdown is the ending of the third one. The ending of the third one, it's kind of really stupid, and it should have ended with spoilers. It should have ended with the Doc stuck in 1885, and then Marty goes back to 1985 to find to find his grave or something, and that he lived a long life after leaving him there in the past.
It probably is Star Wars Episode 5, if I'm honest. It probably is.
You just said you changed it.
I thought I did, but I was going to say Revenge of the Sith, but it probably is.
Well,
it probably
because
is.
mine's also Episode 5.
Oh dear.
Saves a lot of effort of the bickering.
So we've got the same film as our best film.
Yes, which means we have it's basically a test of trivia now, isn't it?
I haven't seen it. I don't think I've seen it for about 3 years. So, shot number 46. What's that? It was probably a probe droid, right? Right at the beginning. Right?
No, because that'll be just after... No, they didn't launch the probe droids until after the Star Destroyer got into shot.
Yeah, that was like the Star Destroyer. And then it shot off the probe... Was there any 20?
No, it was the Star Destroyer. Then it was basically Vader saying we need to search for the rebel bases. Then he shot off the probe droids.
It's a Wonderful Life is a Christmas film, for one thing, and I am an absolute Christmas fanatic. But it's also a tale of redemption, a tale of humanity, and I think all of the actors in it are absolutely fantastic, but Jimmy Stewart in particular just encapsulates what it is to be this authentic, engaging actor, and he creates this character who isn't always likeable but is very lovable and who is very relatable, and I think he does that so beautifully. I can't count how many times I've watched it. I watch it at least once every Christmas, and then I watch a lot of black and white films, a lot of older films as well. So Bette Davis in Whatever Happened to Baby Jane is another one that is always going to stay with me. I mean, there's so many. My brain is constantly rattling round with amazing performances I've watched that I want to steal from or rewatch or, am inspired by, and I feel like it changes all the time.
I like to watch movies that make me feel happy. I don't like horrors. I don't like dramas. I don't like necessarily a lot of very moody, thinky pieces. I do sometimes, but more often when I want to sit down and watch a movie, I want to watch something that is fun. And so that tends to be in the comedy animation field of things.
I do like the Guy Ritchie films, Lock, Stock, Snatch, The Gentleman, which I know a lot of people weren't a fan of.
We saw that in cinema, didn't we?
We did. I saw it twice actually in cinema, but it's one of his best. You compare it to these old gangster films he did before, which were his first two films in I think 98 and 2000. It's pretty much those, but it's on a much bigger budget.
Yeah,
like insane budget, and he's also, you could tell he's had a 20 years of filming experience.
Well, first of all, the good guy doesn't win immediately.
Yeah. I hear what you say.
And also has really good practical effects for a film made in the 70s, which I think still hold up.
I think they all, like if you watch the prequel films now, I think a lot of it kind of holds up, but there's a lot of uncanny valley.
The Industrial Light is great when it comes to sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And also the story's good. I think it develops most of the characters in it.
Yeah, well, it's just a story of they lose.
Yeah, but it's a good way to develop a character.
Yeah, just break them down.
Yeah.
Some trilogies you can kind of get away with, like, I watched the first one, missed the middle one, and I watched the last one. And I think, like, the Harry Potter, the new, like, the Fantastic Beasts,
I
reckon you could probably get away with not watching the second one. I don't know, Aliens, I guess? Like, they're all kind of their own thing. But I think, if you don't watch Empire Strikes Back, you're gonna have no idea.
It's also the first
Right.
point of Luke using his Jedi powers, actually.
Yeah.
Like, properly, not just like, use the Force, Luke.
I think I'm still processing the new Batman film. I think they nailed Gotham. I think Gotham looks fantastic. It's exactly, in my mind, what Gotham looks like. I think it reflects the comics really well. It reminds me of the Tim Burton Batmans, which I really like. And the first Christopher Nolan Batman, I think, had an element of that there as well. And I think that's so important. You've got to get that setting exactly right, because it sets the scene for everything that happens in this crazy toxic culture that they've got going on, that Batman exists in. I thought Pattinson's Batman was fantastic. I wasn't convinced about his Bruce, but what I'm trying to kind of do is see it in the wider form of, if they go on and make more Batman films, then this is probably a very young Batman. This is a Batman who hasn't, his Bruce hasn't developed yet, hasn't grown into itself. But whenever I saw him, and this is a real, sort of shows my age a bit, reminds me of being an emo back when I was a teenager. There were elements of it I really liked, but I mean, I loved Zoe Kravitz was a fantastic Catwoman. I don't think she was given enough to do. I don't think she was given enough fun lines, because Catwoman is a really witty, fun character. She's a fantastic actor, and I think she could have been given more to do there.
Another film I quite like is Kill Bill. I think that's actually a really good film. That is.
I agree with you, Kill Bill. I think the first one. I know they're both the same.
Yeah.
They're both the continuation of a film, but I think that first one, by itself, is brilliant. I think that's generally an awesome film.
Yeah.
Second one, it's a bit slower, but it's more of a story, and I like that as well.
Have you seen that there was a DVD release
of all together
of both of them together? It's like a 4.5 hour film.
I would like to watch that.
Yeah, it would be good.
I'd probably lose my mind, but I would like to watch that.
A lot of the time, there's like no dialogue; it's all just visual, but it works really well.
Well, it's his style. Again, it's early Tarantino.
Yeah,
and his early films are brilliant.
It's just good. You know what I mean? Like, I watched it when I was a kid. My dad introduced me to it. So I think, I don't know, it's got a lot of that.
What was your dad's words of recommendation?
It's Star Wars. Yeah. You like this? You got the VHS from a car boot sale, stuck it in the old VHS player. I could only watch the first half of it because the tape didn't work for the rest of it. So I had to buy another tape. The second tape that I bought, the last 10 minutes didn't work. Well, that was just the credits.
How long did you actually take for you to watch episode 5?
It took me about a good 4 years. From purchase to finish.
Going to the cinema is a bit of a mixed experience for me. It's difficult to get to the cinema anyway, but then on top of that, sometimes you're stuck with people who like talk or fight. Like I once, whilst I was watching Sonic the Hedgehog, a fight broke out, and it was during the scene in the movie where there's a bar fight. So it felt like a very 4D experience for me.
I love the cinema. I've grown up loving the cinema, and it's part and parcel of what I do. And I love storytelling, and I love the experience of the cinema. I think we've slightly lost sight of cinema etiquette, and I don't know if it's maybe because we've spent 2 years at home effectively, so people are really used to being in their own spaces when they're in the cinema. But since the pandemic has, quieted down a little bit and people have returned to the cinema, I've noticed that there's a lot more talking and people being on their phones, texting people the whole way through, or rustling, or just getting. And I mean, I'm very old-fashioned, I think, in that sense, but I expect people to dress up a little bit for the cinema. I expect there to be this sense of like, this is an event. My parents, when I was younger, my parents weren't particularly wealthy, and so going to the cinema was a real treat. It was such an event, it was such an experience, and you dressed up in your cool clothes, and you went and you sat quietly and watched the film. And I think, I don't want cinemas to die out, but I think the only way we can really make cinemas stick around for as long as possible is to get rid of this kind of crazy blockbuster thing we've got going on and give smaller films an opportunity to be screened at these cinemas for less money. I think we're pricing indie films out of cinemas, and I think that's terrible. And I think we have to kind of try and get it back on track so that it's more of a experience more of an event. You know, I think the Everyman and the Curzon and small cinemas like that do it really well. But then what you lose when you go to those smaller cinemas is the quality of the screen, the quality of the sound. And I know for a lot of people that's more important. For me, the atmosphere is more important, but it's a balance, isn't it?
Solo was just like a film that didn't need to exist.
Not
There was
true.
no need for it. And there was like unnecessary explanations behind everything. Like, we don't need to know why Solo is called Solo. That's
And
his
not
name.
because of the reason.
You're
What's your
right.
family's name? I have no family. Solo, is it then?
Ah, that was the worst bit. And it happens in like the first half an hour.
I've watched it 3 times. I can't remember what happens.
What? You've seen it 3 times?
Yeah.
Oh my
I
word.
can't remember what happens.
I'm like nearly 40, so it's very hard for me to have an out-and-out worst movie. To passionately care about a movie enough to hate it. There's a few like really crap ones I've seen. I think like in terms of like just overwhelmingly bad, it's got to be the 41-year-old virgin who knocked up Sarah Marshall and felt super bad about it. Like, the title alone doesn't invite it to be in a high-quality film, but, spoiler alert, it was not. It's really painfully bad. And, like, incredibly toxic in a number of ways. It's just bad. It's a film that should not exist. I think the planet would be better off if this film didn't exist.
On a side note, like, the sounds in the prequels, like, the sound effects are excellent.
Oh, they're great.
But, like, I don't remember the original or the sequel trilogy having great sounds, particularly.
Well, the original,
Maybe the
because it's
original.
old, but the sequel trilogy has enough sounds. It really shouldn't.
Yeah. Oh, like the
Prequel is
pod
good.
racing scene is so good. And, like, the scene in episode 2 where they're flying the cars. That's good. Like, boop, 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 any sort like that.
We can't continue without mentioning one of the best films ever made, Batman 1966.
I agree.
It's one of, oh, it's so
I
good.
think-
It's based on the TV show, of
But
course.
it is based on the TV show. It's brilliant.
Yeah,
I think
it's
in terms of a
so
follow-on
good.
from the TV show, I think it's brilliant. 'Cause it's that, but an hour and a half of it.
Yeah.
And it's like, I know, you know, you make a film of the TV, it's kind of like, a lot of the times it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Or not as good, but this is one of the ones I think they stand like hand in hand. They're both good.
It's silly. It doesn't take itself seriously at all, because obviously that was what the TV show was. But it's like, if you compare that to what we have now with the new Batman film, it's like it's completely different character.
It's a lot different. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's gone a lot more darker. Like when what's his name?
Tim Burton.
Tim Burton. Obviously, his one, because I remember when he did it, it was very dark.
Yeah.
Which I do agree fits him better, but then I think you still can also have this campy version of him. Alan West plays it brilliantly.
My favourite scene in that film is when they're just hanging out in a submarine, Joker, Riddler, Catwoman, and the Penguin,
yeah.
just all hanging out together on a submarine,
playing cards.
just sitting around.
The thing is, though, you said that, there's a lot of that in that film.
They just hang out and sit there, just mates.
Yeah. But I believe you said that's the best part. You're missing out the best line. Bat shark repellent spray.
Bat shark repellent spray. It's very good.
It's just, yeah, it's a brilliant film.
You don't look right.
Oh. What do you mean?
You don't look right.
Why? Why don't I look right?
You don't look right without a hat.
But I don't like hats. They make my scalp all itchy.
You don't look right.
Stop saying that. I look perfectly fine.
Hey, are you okay?
Yeah.
Are you sure? You don't look right.
He doesn't look right.
Maybe you should get a hat.
He doesn't look right without a hat.
Yeah, he's missing a hat.
But I don't want a hat.
I have great strength, but I'm allergic to water. I can run real well, but I can't walk that well. I woke up on the sofa of an old lady's house in London. The old lady was naked and she winked at me. It wasn't a seductive wink, it was more of a threat. So I left and went to the shop and got a big bag of crisps, 1 pack of onion rings and another pack of bacon crunch. I asked the man exactly how many onion rings and how many bacon crunch are in each bag, and he tells me to get the hell out of my shop. Now I thought about getting out of there since he asked so nicely, but instead I said, "Who do you think you are? I was asking you a question. How many onion rings and how many bacon crunch?" "Does it look like I have any form of education?" the man asked. So I left the store with onion rings and bacon crunch in hand. I stole them, I didn't even pay for them. "That's fair," the man said from out the window. I get in my car and I scream. I scream so loud for so long whilst eating my bacon crunch. I screamed all the way home, covered in crisps. The louder I scream, the faster I drive, that's what I always say. I caused several accidents that day, but that wasn't my fault, the onion rings weren't good. Every step walking to my house, I let out a small scream. I found a kebab from a few nights ago on the kitchen counter. The prawns still look good, so I ate them. The phone rings, and it's the President of the United States. He says, "What are you doing? You need to get to the United States of America right now." So I got on a plane. No, a boat. No, I got on a kayak, all the way to the United States of America. My pockets are large, I can fit a whole house in there. I just don't want to. Does it look like I have time to be carrying a house around with me? So I was picking up sticks outside a top-secret government building to put in my infinitely large pockets. So what? What are you going to do about it? I saw some squirrels collecting them and I thought I gotta get some of that. That was until one of those tree rats jumped me. It was me versus squirrel, and I lost. I lost so hard the squirrel took the soul right out of my body. I was dead, in the afterlife, and I thought, where are the clouds? A weird-looking mouse came up to me and screamed. It screamed so loud my ears bled, but I got what it was saying. I said, "I get the picture, mouse." Turns out I was in limbo. It wasn't so bad. There were plenty of those sticks just lying around. Not a squirrel in sight. "Look who's got all the sticks now, you rat bastards." I got kind of hungry, so I rubbed my sticks together to make a fire and cooked the mouse. I'll tell you, it was crunchy and pretty good. The best thing I've ever eaten, in fact. But it was no bacon crunch. I looked up from my sticks to find I was still outside the top-secret government building. I yelled, "What the hell? That damn mouse tricked me. I wasn't in limbo at all." I added that mouse bastard to my list of never again. If I ever see that thing again, I'll give it what for.
Momo. 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 It's so dark in here. Why is it so dark in here? Where's the light switch? Why is it so dark? It's the middle of the day. Come on. The light switch is somewhere around here. No? Was it the other wall? Well, now I'm just completely lost. Where's the light switch? Where am I? Why is it so dark in here? Can't see a thing.
I have amazing survival skills. I can survive on nothing but air for weeks. I was offered some chicken a few weeks ago and I ran away screaming. Never trust a chicken, that's what I always say. Next thing I knew, I was in the middle of a theme park in Japan. I got a photo with a strong man, and then the bastard asked me to pay up. How was I supposed to know I needed money? He made a deal with me to play a game of poker. I thought to myself, that's it! The perfect opportunity to use my trusty deck of cards. So I went to the bar and played a game of poker with these suckers. A royal flush in my hand. I lost. It ain't my fault I cheated, I was compelled to do it. It was okay though because I had no money to begin with, so I bet my wooden foot instead. I didn't need it anyway. I pocketed around £2.50 when the suckers weren't looking and left to buy a canoe. I canoed all the way down the Panama Canal, and in what felt like only minutes, I ended up in Wales. I was on a Welsh hill when I saw a small shed. I hopped over there and knocked on the door. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. A Welshman answered the door and welcomed me with open arms. The bastard stuck his hand out, so I grabbed it and broke his arm. Turns out it was just a handshake. How was I supposed to know that? He invited me inside and told me his whole life story. It took weeks. He told me every last detail, from the moment he was born to the moment he died right there in front of me. I liked the shed, so I adopted its 35 cats and decided to live there for a few decades. I got kinda comfy, so I'd go back there every third Thursday of the month. That was until one day, I got a knock on the door.
Oh no, she's fallen up the chimney again.
Help, I'm stuck in the chimney.
Why are you stuck in the chimney?
I fell up the chimney.
Oh. Let me get the broom.
Ow, you're poking me with the broom.
I'm sorry. Maybe I'll try from the other end. Any movement?
No, I'm stuck in the chimney.
Oh.
Oh, you alright?
Hello. What are you doing in my chimney?
Dunno, mate. It's your chimney.
Oh.
I didn't do it.
There's a body next to you.
I didn't do it.
You're holding a knife.
What knife?
Oh.
You alright, mate?
Oh, you're okay.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Oh, okay.
I didn't do it.
Huh? Ah! Ugh. Ah! Ah! Oh! Ah! 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 Oh no! Ah! Ha ha ha. Phew. Hmm. Whew. Ah!
Where do the bees go when they're not feeling well? The hospital.
You want $1,000,000 idea? Okay, listen to this. This is a good one. I've been thinking about this since high school. So, I buy a bunch of cars, right? Like a bunch of cars and vans. Like, I'm thinking maybe half a dozen of each. And I use them to start a cab company, right? And at first it's like every other cab company, except, save for one crucial detail. All the vehicles, rather, have been modified to look like hot dogs. So they're hot dog cars. They'd be kind of like the Oscar Mayer Wienermobiles. Except I wouldn't call them that, and they'd be smaller. I'd have to invent my own IP, like maybe I'd call it Willie's Weenie Wagons. Yeah, I like that. And I'd be Willie. But Willie's not my real name, though. That would just be my business name. The stage name of the business world. And all the drivers would wear those, like, milkman outfits with the white shirts and the snappy bow ties and the sea captain hats. Even though I don't know why they wear those. I don't know what milk has to do with being a sea captain.
So the first one is an idea I've had for a while. It's called cabs. So, like, if you've had a night out and you want a taxi back, this is incredible, by the way. Incredible. You've had a night out, want a taxi back, and you also fancy a kebab, right? Cut it all down into one thing. Cabs. There's a bloke, so you get in the back of his taxi. You're gonna have to modify the taxi somehow. In the footwell, the passenger footwell, is a rotisserie. There can be a driver, a kebab, and a bloke. He'll have to carve them. He'll lean back and go, "So what do you want, mate?" But there's only one meat. The rotisserie's in between his legs. You'll cut your kebab, get in the bread, pass it back to you. That'll be £10, please. Kebab. Job done. Just £1 million idea.
I mean, there's really only one sensible thing you can do with £1 million, and that's go to the bank and say, "Hello, I'd like £1 million in pennies, please." And then you take the pennies in big sacks and put them in either a swimming pool or your local pond and dive in it like Scrooge McDuck. Although, now I think about it, I think £1 million in pennies, even though it's going to be like loads and loads and loads of pennies, it probably won't be enough to fill either a swimming pool or a small pond. And if you try and swim in it, it'll probably just really hurt. Come to think of it, I'm not really sure what to do with £1 million after all.
You'd invest it and then you'd make more millions.
It's all food based. They're all taxi based as well. Oh yeah, you're going to call the app Guru, right? And it's basically Uber, but whoever drives it gives you life advice, but he won't let you out until you've done something about it. So if you get in the back of the Guru and he's like, "Right, what's your problem?" I've got to do this report by Friday. He's like, "Well, you ain't leaving the cab until you do it." I like that.
What's your obsession?
Well, I just think it's that you could definitely make taxis better.
But they do the job that they're intended to do.
Yeah, but they could do more.
They don't need to do.
If I went to Dragon's Den with cabs, Deborah Meaden, Peter Jones, and the other three, they'd be all over it, mate. They'd be begging. 0% for all the money.
0%. I don't want any part of this business, but I'm going to give you the money.
Just imagine, picture for a moment. You roll up to the club in one of my weenie cabs, and everybody turns around and looks at you, and they're like, "Whoa, who's that guy? I want to be him. I want to be like that. Wish I was that cool." See, that could be you. And it'd be good for any occasion, too. You can go to house parties, you can go to the bar, you can go to the hospital, you can go to your wedding, you can go to a funeral. The possibilities are endless. And have the market cornered, too. We're not even talking millions anymore. We may be looking at billions. And then maybe with my vast wealth, I could start my own country. And crown myself as emperor. My subjects would bow to me. And nobody would stand in my way again. And, with that kind of, like, stability in my life, maybe I could start working on myself more. But yeah, hot dog weenie wagons. It's a good idea. It's an idea worth $1 million bucks.
You could probably do the same with other foods. It don't have to be kebabs, I'd say. Pizza oven in the back?
Mix the two ideas together?
Guru Anchor Cabs?
Yeah, a taxi
That's-
that gives you a lift, gives you a kebab, and gives you
That's
advice.
Guru Plus.
There you go. No, that's where the money is.
Dollars. Euros. Yen. Dineros. That's all the ones I remember. Bye.
You there, I demand ice cream. I want ice cream. I want ice cream.
What flavour of ice cream would you like?
I'll have the super extra triple chocolate chip.
We don't have that flavour. We only have super extra double chocolate chip. Is there anything else I can get you?
I can talk to animals, but I can't read English. I'm good with mayonnaise and I'm scared of old people. I woke up with a hangover. I didn't know where I was. I looked out the window to see I was in Austria. Never heard of it before. Must have sprung up overnight. An Austrian guy came up to me and asked, "What the hell are you doing here?" I wasn't really sure. Last thing I remember, I was coaxed into a crate by an Austrian woman and everything went dark. But that doesn't explain how I got here, so instead I asked, "What are you doing here?" I saw the guy thinking. I literally saw his brain moving. He said, "I don't know what I'm doing here, but I sure as hell ain't staying here." So I decided to hitchhike out of this place. I came up with a genius plan to get picked up, so I stood outside with my thumb pointed towards the sky. I thought to myself, I'll be out of here in no time. A car stopped first time, the first car I saw. He rolled down his window. I said, "I gotta get out of this place." The man stared at me blankly, not saying a word. "Did you hear me, you bastard?" The man just stared, didn't even move, then it hit me. "Oh, I see how it is. You want a staring contest, do you?" So I stared at this man for a while. Days, maybe even weeks went by. I don't know, I got lost in his beautiful eyes. Suddenly he blinked. I said, I got you, you bastard, you blinked." The man stayed silent, and moments later he sped away in his car. That son of a bitch cheated. He got a free staring contest and I got nothing. I pointed my thumb towards the sky again and another guy stopped after only a few days. He spoke to me in some language I didn't understand, but I could tell he got the picture. I got in the car and sat in silence. Now I'm not one for awkward silences, but this guy really took the medal for not saying a word the whole trip. He drives me all the way to the airport. I missed my flight several weeks ago, but I used my charm and good looks to get me onto the next flight out of there. I didn't know where I was heading, but I was heading there. On the plane I was so dehydrated I opened my mouth and only dust came out. Dust out of every hole. I raided the fridge and found a pufferfish. I locked lips with that pufferfish and squeezed all the juices out. I looked around and there was a gang of old people on the plane. I yelled, "Who put these mother-flipping granddads on my mother-flipping plane?" These oldies looked suspicious, something fishy about them, I could smell it. So when we got off the plane, I followed them for miles. They went to a library, must be their secret gang hideout, I thought. I knew I had to interrogate one of them to find out their secret plans. So I got a bin bag and bagged the most elderly-looking one. Suddenly the oldies jumped me. They hobbled towards me with their canes at the ready. I swung that bin bag around my head and threw the old lady at them. I may never know what I did that day or how many people I saved. But when I looked around me and saw those concussed pensioners on the floor, I knew I'd done a good thing.
I'm a drawing.
Oh no, I'm a mug. What are you doing in the freezer?
Fish fingers.
But they're frozen. You can't eat those.
If I'm frozen too, then I won't be able to tell the difference.
Oh, I guess that makes sense.
Oi, give me those fish fingers!
No, stay away from my fishy deliciousness.
I want fish fingies!
No, never. No.
No!
Fish fingers.
Oh, delicious. Chekhov's gun. Pythagoras' theorem. Occam's razor. Ah. Clarke's three laws. Yes, I read that one. Chesterton's fence. Yes, I know that one. Newton's flaming laser sword. Ah, yes. Amadeus's whip. Rita's repulsor. Yes. Interesting. Sabalom's curse. Yes. Yes. Bartholomew's mounted steed. Ah. Crust. Ah. Yes. Crust.
Next on the television, it's the Toad.